There's a strange discomfort that hits when you look at your finances. You've done it before, checked your bank account only to feel that familiar knot tightens in your stomach. Is it enough? Will it be enough? Maybe you look at your savings and realize that it doesn't feel like much when the world around you seems to move faster, wealthier, more secure. In moments like this, doubt creeps in. We're told by society that financial success is a clear path. Get a good job, save, invest, and you're set. But when you pull back the curtain, things aren't so clear. People post about their perfect lives, their vacations, their latest purchase, and suddenly, the doubt seems justified. Are they doing it right? Or are we? Most people spend their lives running a race they can never quite win, trying to keep up with others while struggling in silence. What happens when you realize that most of the world is on the same treadmill, just trying to stay afloat? The numbers, the averages, they tell a different story, one that's more relatable than we care to admit. It's not about drastic highs and lows, or that magical number we think will fix everything. It's about understanding where you stand right now compared to the majority of people out there. If you know where the bar is set, then you can figure out how to rise above it. So, what does the real financial landscape look like? And what can you do to make sure you don't get stuck in the same patterns? For most people, financial security seems like a distant dream. We're taught to believe that with enough effort, enough hours worked, and enough sacrifices made, we'll reach that elusive point where money stops being a constant worry. But the reality is that, for many, security doesn't come as quickly or as easily as we hope. Take a moment to think about your own situation. How much do you truly feel safe financially? According to recent data, 4 in 10 Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something. The truth is, the moment people stop thinking about how much they have in their savings account, they start thinking about how much debt they owe. The balancing act between the two can feel like walking a tightrope. Here's the thing. We're often told that wealth is all about how much you earn or how much you can save in a given time. But the real question is, what do we do with what we have? It's not about earning a fortune, it's about making the money you do have work for you. In 2021, the median household income in the US was just over $70,000. But despite this, almost 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to save. You may earn well, but if your spending habits and mindset about money don't shift, you'll always be playing catch-up. The rich don't necessarily earn more, they just manage their money differently. Think of a river. A river's current is constantly moving, changing, and growing, but only if it finds its way to the ocean. If the river meets a dam, it becomes stagnant, unable to move forward. That's how financial growth works. Your money, like a river, needs a path forward. Without it, you'll end up stuck in a loop of paying bills and worrying about the future.
We've all heard the stories of those who seem to have it all figured out. They work hard, they climb the corporate ladder, and before they know it, they're financially independent, living life on their terms. But what if I told you that for most people, this idea is a myth? The reality is that financial independence isn't achieved through simply working more hours or earning a higher paycheck. It's about understanding how money works and making the right decisions with what you have. According to recent studies, 39% of American households have zero retirement savings, and nearly 50% of people nearing retirement age have less than $25,000 saved. It's hard to think about retiring when you're stuck in a cycle of working, paying bills, and struggling to save. But let's take a deeper look. For the average person, retirement isn't just about saving, it's about how well you manage your savings over the years. And here's the tough truth. Many people don't have enough set aside to live comfortably, let alone retire early. So, how do you break the cycle? Start by focusing on small, manageable steps. Most people focus on big goals, like owning a home or driving a fancy car, but forget about the importance of having a cushion for unexpected events. For example, less than 40% of Americans have an emergency fund that can cover 3 months of living expenses. Without this safety net, Any unexpected expense could quickly become a financial disaster. Real financial freedom doesn't come from earning more money. It comes from learning to manage the money you have, no matter how little. The average American spends more than they save, and the solution isn't to make more money, but to rethink how we manage and grow what we already have. There's a powerful tool at your disposal that can completely change your financial trajectory, something that most people overlook until it's too late: compound growth. If you've ever heard the phrase, the rich get richer, you've probably heard about this phenomenon, but it's not just for the wealthy. Compound growth is a tool that can help anyone, regardless of income level, build wealth over time. Here's how it works. When you invest money, your returns earn interest. But with compound growth, those returns themselves also start to earn interest, creating a snowball effect. The earlier you start, the more dramatic the effect. For instance, someone who invests $100 a month at 7% annual return for 20 years will have around $60,000. But if they wait 10 years to start investing, they'll only end up with around $30,000, half the amount. Let's make it even clearer. Imagine you invest $500 every month consistently with an average 8% return. After 30 years, you could have over $750,000. If you waited just 5 years, your total after 30 years would be about $600,000. That difference of $150,000 is the direct result of compound interest, money growing faster because it has more time to compound. Now, here's the kicker. While most people focus on increasing their monthly savings, the real magic happens when they start early and let their investments compound. Compound growth is slow at first, but over time, it picks up momentum in ways that are almost impossible to replicate with just income. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to make up for lost time. The key takeaway: don't wait to get started. The sooner you invest, even if it's a small amount, the more powerful this tool will be. Compound growth isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's the quiet engine that powers long-term financial success. When it comes to building wealth, understanding the relationship between risk and reward is crucial. It's a dance that everyone must learn, whether you're investing in the stock market, buying real estate, or simply deciding where to allocate your savings. Risk is unavoidable, but what really matters is how you manage it and how you make decisions that will work in your favor over the long run. Let's break it down. The general rule is simple. Higher risk generally comes with the potential for higher rewards. However, it's important to understand that higher risk doesn't always equate to guaranteed higher rewards. In fact, for many, chasing high-risk investments without understanding them can lead to devastating financial setbacks. Take the stock market, for example. Historically, the average annual return of the S&P 500 index has been around 10% over the long term. But if you look at shorter periods, the market can be volatile, sometimes experiencing steep drops followed by significant gains. If you panic and sell during a downturn, you may lock in your losses. But if you remain calm and stay invested, you benefit when the market rebounds. Risk management is about making informed choices. It's about understanding that some level of risk is inevitable if you want your money to grow. The goal isn't to eliminate risk altogether, but to reduce it where possible and accept it where necessary. Diversification is one of the most effective ways to manage risk. By spreading your investments across different sectors, asset classes, and regions, you reduce the impact of any single poor-performing investment on your overall portfolio. The real reward comes when you stay disciplined. It's not about avoiding risk at all costs. It's about understanding risk, using it to your advantage, and knowing when to adjust your strategy based on the situation at hand. Wealth grows not from intensity, but from consistent effort over time. It's easy to get distracted by the latest investment trend or the promise of quick gains, but the real success lies in the steady, consistent actions you take day after day. Just like a river slowly carving its path through rock, small, consistent efforts over time can result in monumental changes. For example, imagine you invest just $500 a month in a diversified portfolio that earns an average of 7% annually. While $500 a month might seem like a small amount, Over the course of 30 years, that amount would grow to more than $600,000. The key here is that it's the consistency of putting money into your investments regularly, not the amount you invest in a single go, that leads to massive long-term growth. But consistency isn't just about investing. It's about adopting a financial mindset that encourages continuous improvement. It's about setting aside money each month for savings, creating a budget and sticking to it, and reviewing your goals periodically to ensure you're on track. Wealth building isn't a sprint, it's a marathon, and consistency is your most powerful ally. For instance, consider a person who puts aside 15% of their income each month toward their future. Over time, they build an emergency fund, start investing in assets, and steadily increase their retirement savings. The consistency of saving and investing, no matter how small the amounts, adds up over time to substantial financial security. While the occasional large gain or investment win might make headlines, the real power is in consistent, disciplined action. The wealthiest individuals didn't accumulate their wealth overnight. They achieved it by staying disciplined, making incremental progress, and letting time do the heavy lifting. One of the most important shifts you can make in your financial journey is learning to look beyond the immediate future. Short-term wins can be exciting, but true financial success comes from having a long-term perspective. This long-term view doesn't just mean planning for retirement. It's about seeing the bigger picture in everything you do financially. Take, for example, your daily spending habits. The small purchases you make, coffee in the morning, dining out, or that new gadget you can't quite resist, might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they add up. The typical American spends over $3,000 annually on coffee alone. This may not seem like much on a single trip to your favorite cafe, but multiply it by 365 days, and that's a staggering amount. Now, imagine if that $3,000 was invested instead of spent. If you invested just that amount in an S&P 500 index fund, assuming an average return of 7% annually, that $3,000 would grow to over $22,000 in 30 years. And this is just one example. The beauty of a long-term view is that it forces you to take into account the cumulative impact of your decisions. Small actions, done consistently over time, create immense value. This long-term mindset isn't just about delaying gratification for the sake of saving. It's about making decisions that will benefit you far into the future, often in ways that may not even be immediately visible, whether it's investing in stocks, real estate, or building new skills. Your financial decisions today create a foundation for tomorrow. True wealth is built when you understand that what you do today echoes for years. Instead of focusing solely on the present moment, think about where you want to be in 5, 10, or even 20 years. This mindset transforms your approach to money, turning your future into something you actively shape rather than something you passively hope for. The statistics we've covered tell a clear story. Most people aren't saving enough, spending wisely, or planning for the future. According to the numbers, 25% of Americans don't have any retirement savings. That's 1 out of every 4 people you meet, still hoping Social Security will cover their future. But you don't have to follow the same path. By understanding these figures, you can make better choices. If the average person is saving only 6% of their income, challenge yourself to save more. The median retirement savings for those under 35 is less than $14,000. But by starting early and saving consistently, you can easily surpass that. Consider the numbers. Someone at $885 a month for housing, $913 for transportation, and an average of $9,000 in credit card debt. The average household's monthly spending is around $5,577. How do your numbers compare? Are you spending more than you should? Are you saving enough? The difference between being average and doing better than average is often just a few intentional decisions. If you start by tracking your spending, making smarter savings choices, and investing consistently, you'll be ahead of the game. The statistics prove that with small changes, you can break free from the crowd and build lasting wealth. The sooner you start making adjustments, the sooner you'll see the benefits. Don't wait for your financial situation to get better on its own. Use these statistics to guide your next move.